Peace be upon you, and it's your host Fadila. Welcome to another exclusive episode of our Books and Coffee podcast. How have you been doing? With me on today's episode is an author, an upcoming filmmaker, and a poet whose unique voice has helped a lot of people. This person's activeness has also earned him an award. Put your hands together for our humble guest, Abdulrahim Muhammad Koko. How have you been, and how's the weather been treating you?
It has been good. It has been raining.
We are going to play this icebreaker because you might have heard of our popular icebreaker. I'll be asking you random bookish questions and you just simply have to give a yes or no answer. Are you all geared up?
Sure, I am.
Do you enjoy reading books that have won literary awards?
I don't know. It depends. I don't really check like the awards of the books that I read. If a book piques my interest, I just read it.
Do you prefer reading books in hardback editions?
I feel like everybody prefers that, but then the soft copies are always easier to get.
Do you have a preference for reading books with first person or third person's point of view?
I don't have like a preference. I feel like if the narrative tone or whatever does not affect the way I would like enjoy the book or whatever, I would simply enjoy the book if it's the narrative.
Interesting.
Do you prefer reading books that are part of a long series?
Okay, that's actually something I wanted to say. I don't read novels, not really novels, but I read mostly like the boring stuff.
Polar opposite from what I read.
Yeah, that's like when people ask me, do I read? I say, oh, what do you read? And I don't tell them the book that I read, and it's like, oh my god, that's so not what I wanted to hear.
Do you prefer reading books that have a happy ending?
Well, like I said, I don't really read novels. Things I read are more like anxiety for beginners, but for like movies, I really love movies that have such a neutral ending, like where you don't know if it's you just have to guess if it is.
Now the interesting question. Do you enjoy coffee? If yes, what's your go-to coffee order? If no, what do you prefer drinking?
No, I definitely enjoy coffee. Most of the time I make my own coffee, or there was this my friend Khadija who used to make our coffees every morning in my first year of university, but then it's almost always an iced latte, so I like lattes.
Can you share a bit about your journey as a poet? Like what initially sparked your interest?
What inspired me to be a poet is mainly I feel like it's my life. It's my life and then my emotions, because I'm a man that has so many emotions, so I don't know how to handle them sometimes, and I feel like for a lot of like writers too, artists in general, like when they don't know how to like explain their crazy or explain their their inner emotions and like happiness, sadness, numbness and all of that, I think they can like resort to is their art. That's basically what poetry is for me and writing in general.
When did you know that you wanted to be a writer?
Since I could remember, like since I could ever remember, I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. So a filmmaker consists of really everything: an actor, a script writer, a cinematographer. That's like it in like broad daylight. I wanted to be a filmmaker because of the reason. So when like on my like path to becoming a filmmaker, because like that's the journey I'm on right now, I realized that I really enjoyed writing scripts.
Many writers draw inspiration from their surroundings and, personal experiences. Are there any specific people, places, or events that have played, an important role in shaping your work?
Well, from like my most popular like release, like the main thing that like inspired the book is my dad, like his death and all of that, together with my co-author, and then. Apart from that, I feel like the main thing that inspires my writing is my vulnerability, my ability to be vulnerable with it, and then my life entirely, my mom and my siblings, and mainly my family too. Yeah, I feel like that's like the main thing that inspires my writing.
Could you share a brief experience that has had a significant influence on your writing?
That's the tricky thing. Like I get this a lot, like who like inspires me a lot, and then it's like I don't really have like one person that I can say, oh, a famous poet or whatever that I can say, oh, this person, like his poetry is the main reason I started poetry. I don't have. So Franz Kafka has this. There's this book by him, Letters to Melina, where he wrote a lot of hundreds of letters to her basically. or like there's this book I'm currently reading. It's called Anxiety for Beginners by Eleanor. Those type of things that I could get inspired like from their writing or from a book I'm reading, but not from like a specific person. Michelangelo too inspires me, but like he's a poet, but most of the things that inspire me are his paintings, and his paintings inspire me to write poems.
Does your love for filmmaking have an impact on your writing style?
Definitely, because it's because of my love for filmmaking that I started writing. Like it's the main thing that led me to start writing and taking it seriously.
Gusta mentioned in an interview that the initial concept for the book Etera came from your discussions. Could you elaborate on how the idea evolved?
It was kind of my idea, but then not just my idea. I was also told to do it. Basically, it was an assignment. Something really deep and personal happened to me around that time. So I was seeing someone, and this person advised me to start writing down like things that I feel and my emotions and all. And I was like, well, it's actually something that I already do. I write a lot of my feelings and all, and he was like, why don't you make it into a book? I showed him some of my stuff, and he was like, you should turn it into a book. I'm sure people would appreciate it and all. But then when I did it, I was like, okay, this, because I had like watered down a lot of things. So I was like, okay, this is not enough. I need someone that has like kind of the same relatable thing that I have. That was when I reached out to Husna. I was like, okay, Husna, like I want to write a book that talks about like grief and all that. And you're like the closest person I know that has like the same kind of the same and exact thing that I've been through, which is like both our fathers died like at a very young age. And she writes and I write too. So I was like, there's a lot of things in common. Why don't we write a book? So she was like, all right, let's do it. So she wrote from page 1 to 50 and I wrote the remaining.
Do you have like favorite parts from the book? Me, obviously, I do. I have favorite parts. And yes,
Really?
Could you share some of your favorite parts? Yes, I do. I have.
Okay. Before I do, could you tell me what your favorite part is?
Okay. Just because you love or care about someone doesn't mean they feel the love you so claim to have for them. Learn to show and express it. Don't claim to love or care about me, then continuously hurt me. That shit breaks a person, and it never goes back.
Actually, I wrote that, and that's not even a poem. Actually, it's more of like like I don't know. I can't call it prose. So
just like
I wrote
words
it
merged
about
together.
a friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's about a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
That was doing something that really annoyed me at the time, and it was like, oh, he keeps on telling me it's because I care about you, because I love you. So I was like, okay, I now said it to him. I think I was like, just because you say you love or care about doesn't mean they feel the love you so like claim to have for them. So I was like, okay, that's kind of deep, and that's something that's true, and I'm sure a lot of people could relate to it. I have two favorite parts from the book. The first one was the one that I wrote because at the second to the last page, I think it says something about unfortunately I'm an unfortunate creature, a man. And then there was another one that wrote about turning her body into like a canvas and painting it with the darkest shades of silver and red. Those two are my favorites because they are very deep, and then I feel like you wouldn't really know what they're talking about, but like, if you sit down and understand what they're actually going, what they are saying, you'd understand why they're that meaningful to me. The second one about the canvas one, talking about self-harm. The one about the unfortunate creature is about how men are seen as, honestly, like we've been villainized so much, even though yes, society has been created by men. We are the standard, and we are misusing our power and so much more. I feel like we need much more care. We need to show more care to men.
Like Eterath. Why Eterath? Why did you choose the title Eterath?
So there's this thing. That's actually how I name most of myself. From my brand to this, they're always like looking for like words that are not really that popular that you have to like search for the meaning or ask me so that I tell you what it means. So it's like it keeps up that mystery, like you don't know what you are getting into until you actually get into it. And then, like for me to find the word, I had to search until I found it on TikTok. And I was like, okay, this is the perfect name. And I was like, and it's short, it's easy to remember because I feel like it's unique. Not everyone has heard of the word before. It was just perfect. I told her now, I came up with the name for it, and then I told her what it meant and so much more. So it was kind of like a very easy. It was the easiest thing ever writing this book. There was so much collaboration, and then we just understood each other a lot.
Are there any significant milestones this book has made you hit?
Because of this book, I was invited to this TEDx salon where I spoke to people about like creativity, and they told me to write a brand new poem. So that was like a big highlight. That was like one of the largest highlights, honestly. And then I also got a BBC interview, like BBC Hausa, and I also got my school to sponsor my book fund. So honestly, the book has helped me a lot. I even got to start talking to this writer from Punchline magazine. Newspaper magazine here in Nigeria. So it's really one of the best things I have going on right now. I'm also doing something with UBEC right now, which I don't think I can say much about right now. Yeah, basically.
Wow, mashallah. That is really great. Amazing milestones. So can you tell us about your writing process?
So I don't really sit down to start writing because as you may or may not know, right now I'm currently writing. So people have been asking me, they think I sit down just writing and writing. That's not really how I do now. Writing is like something I do at my not only my leisure time, but whenever it comes to me. Because I could just be sitting down and then I'll just get boom, a hit in my head. I'll get probably like a title for a poem. I walk around with a journal that I write my things down, and even if I don't go out with it, I always make sure that it's somewhere close to me. So if I come back home, I can write it down. And my notes app right now is like my best friend because that's where I write everything. Even the feeling that I've never like felt before, when I feel it, I write it down.
That's amazing.
I feel like writing is something that you have to like be very close to because it's like a reflection of who you are as a person.
Yes. So you don't have any specific routine. Like most writers that I talk to, they're like, oh yeah, I do it so and so way. Well, like it's so amazing to hear that you have your own way of doing it. Like when it just comes, which is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the things I write, they just come up to me. They just I have never like sat down and today I'm going to write 10 poems. It just comes up. I don't know. It's just
unexpectedly
comes. Exactly. It's like living my daily life and oh my god, I should write about this. So that was why when there's two things that I'm challenging myself with, it's kind of hard. There's a chapter in the book that's going to talk about drugs and all. So I don't really have any experience with drugs. So it's like it's okay. Maybe a little bit because of like where I grew up. I don't know how it feels like or what it feels like, but I'm trying to write in a perspective that makes me feel like or look like I know what it feels like. But it's something that's brand new for me. And then also this poem that I wrote for TEDx Salon, it was kind of hard to write it. To the point where when I wrote it, I felt so free. So I deleted the entire poem that I wrote for them.
Do you have a reading goal or challenge you are currently, pursuing, such as, a certain number of books to read in a year? Because like me personally, my aim is to read 30 books this year, even though, I want to surpass the goal.
Like I said, I'm not like a traditional book reader. I don't sit down to read novels. But I'm not like a chronic, always reading type of person. I always write down what I'm learning. And also, like my reading process is usually very slow because I always write down what I learn what I want to learn.
As someone who is, a creative individual, how do you overcome the challenges that arise during writing, in the writing process? Are there any specific strategies that you adopt to overcome writer's block or self-doubt?
Funny enough, I just wrote about this on my Instagram the other day about how I've been getting like creator's block or writer's block because, like I said to you, I don't really sit down to write. So it's only when I get the inspiration that I write. So it's like hard for me. So when I was writing I just got stuck. I was like, okay, what do I do? Because there's this narrative pattern that I want to follow with the book that I'm writing, and it's like I just got so stuck. But when I traveled to Sokoto for Eid this Eid. So it has been like it helps a lot basically. So I feel like changing your environment helps. Reading books, watching YouTube, watching movies, going for a walk, and all the like generic things that people say are the things that really do help. Know that like what you're writing is authentic to you. So I feel like that will also help you right.
What were your moments of growth? Like, when did you acknowledge that you had grown?
I don't know. As a person, I feel like I'm still growing. Like I feel like there's still so much to learn. Writing wise, I feel like I've improved a lot from my last book. I feel like the things I write now are a lot different. They are more detailed and they are more. I don't know. They are more well done and well written, basically. Yeah, and I feel like it helps because I'm studying mass communication. They make us write a lot, so I feel like that's like something that consistency helps. So that's another thing that's helped me grow as a writer. As a person, I feel like I'm still figuring out.
As a writer, you have the power to make, a lasting impact. What feeling do you hope to convey through your work?
I want people to see me as like a comfort person. Like without even knowing me, you see me and you feel like, oh, that's a person I'm comfortable with. And then this book, I feel like it has helped a lot because after writing this book, I'll just get like people randomly DM me or telling me how, this book helped them with this. And it's like, it's honestly such a warm feeling. That's like the main thing that made me feel like, okay, I did this and I'm not going back. I have to continue. Basically, it feels like a little superpower. Oh, people feel this when they see you, feel this when they see what you're writing, basically. And then it's so nice to like see people actually appreciate what you're doing. Even though, of course, there are people that are like, yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Like people would see you and be like, oh, this person. Like, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, oh well, exactly. And then it's like, if you are seeing something visually in your head and no one has ever done it before, you have to do it. You can't wait for other people to do it. That's the mindset I have. So it truly annoys me so much when I see people say that, because not only to me, some people will come up to me and they'll tell me something about this particular person that is probably like doing well on like social media or something. They'll be like, oh, or something is like, oh, it oversabi too much. Do you get? It's like, okay, let them be themselves.
Let them do what they are doing.
Exactly, let them do themselves, and it's awesome. It's helping them and it's paying for them. So what's your own? Do you get what I'm saying? It's like, so I feel like it's either you uplift someone or just put up.
There would obviously be haters. No matter how much you try your best, there'll definitely be haters lingering around.
I feel like to be honest.
You said that you received DMs from people that have read your book. So is there anyone that stuck with you? Like the one that is so dear to your heart, so memorable that you can't forget? Okay.
There was this one time I made an Instagram post, like I think it was like some weeks after the book released, like saying something. Hold on, let me look for it. Someone wrote me a letter about the book I wrote. So I think it was sent to my email. So it was like that was like the point. I was like, this person really took time to write this. This is how I made it feel. It's one person, but I felt like, okay, I've actually made an impact in someone's life. That was truly like a turning point for me. Like, damn, this is deep. That was like the main thing that was like, okay, no going back. I need to continue what I'm doing. So I think I said on my on my caption, I was like, someone wrote a letter to me about the book I wrote with Husna. And honestly, when I read the letter, that review about the book, I almost teared up. I did not know the book would have this much impact to people my age, younger and older than me. I feel so grateful that people see me as someone they can randomly talk to about the things they go through. The book is just the beginning for us, inshallah. So I feel like that was like the turning point, basically. There's this one feeling with people being like open and vulnerable and like outright telling you how they make you feel, and it's positive. I feel like it feels good.
How would you describe your collaboration with Husna in one sentence?
My collaboration with Husna was a spark. Basically, it was a spark. Before it, we weren't as close as we are. So it was like we did not really talk much. But then when we started talking about the book, it was just like a spark. We just connected so much. We even had this community we had like on WhatsApp. It was called the Dead Poets Society, where we had like a lot of other like writers and all. It was just amazing. We could have done much more, but I feel like we will in the future, inshallah.
Inshallah.
You brought to our knowledge on Instagram that you are currently working on a new book. Can you share some insights into this upcoming piece? What inspired it, and what do you hope readers will take away from it?
I mean, I've been given like little updates about the book, but never have I got any content from the book, because I feel like that's like, I don't know. I want it to be more of like when you get the book, you say, but what can I say? Maybe okay, I would say the book is going to have 5 chapters. Maybe that's all I can say for now.
What advice would you give to aspiring poets and authors who are looking to find their voices and, share their work with the world?
Pick up a pen and paper or your laptop or whatever device you have and start creating what you want other people to create. Don't wait for anyone to bring to the table what you can bring to the table. So just trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and get to writing. I want people to be okay with being vulnerable. I want men to be okay with being vulnerable. I don't want vulnerability to be your lifestyle. I don't want you to always be sad. I want you to be strong, to be yourself, and to be confident in yourself. But I also want you to know that it's okay to not be okay. That's like the main thing I've been trying to like say, and like that's my message. That's the whole thing that I want people to understand. But then don't be your problem. Don't let your problem or your issues define you.
Thank you so much, Abdulrahim, for your time and contribution to the podcast. It was so nice having you here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. You all should subscribe to her. Wait, do people subscribe? You all should subscribe because we went through a lot doing this podcast. Thank you for having me, and thank you to all of you guys for listening.
You can get in touch with Abdulrahim or follow him for updates on his work through his Instagram account linked in the description below. And you could send him an email via his email address cocoabdurrahim05@gmail.com, which is also in the description. Don't forget to follow our show and leave your ratings as usual. Our Instagram is at Books and Coffee Podcast. Do check us out, and as always, Assalamu alaikum.